What?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in on a Monday night to the Bama Standard postseason show. Yes, we're normally on the airwaves every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Central, but we had to change things up just a little bit. But hey, you've got us tonight, the number one station for Alabama football, the Bama Standard. Hey, before we start doing roll call, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, get in the live chat. If you're here, show us some love. If you're watching the replay, definitely need you in the comment section because we got a lot to unpack tonight and we want to hear from you, the fans. Things we're going to debate. It's spring ball. Tonight, we are brought to you by Workspace Solutions and Oakmont Financial Partners. With me, as always, I'm Justin Riley, but with me, as always, is the living legend, the man who carries this show. And we really should have action figures to sell in our gift shop.
Uh,
The coach, Senator Hines. Smoot, what's going on, brother?
what's going on, bro? What's going on, man?
Hey man, I'm serious about getting those action figures, man. It's time to start getting some merch going.
Something. We got to start. Hey, first day of spring practice, bro.
It's like Christmas in July, but it's
Yeah.
just a spring and yeah. But hey, it's here, and
Right.
now this is when everything starts to come together. All the parts start going where they're supposed to. We've been talking about the coaches that have been hired in the off season, and now it's time to see them at work. It's time to see them earn that bag. They just got paid a considerable amount of money in the millions to coach for the University of Alabama. And of course, the hottest topic, first thing that came out as soon as the sun came over the hills was Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe. All the social media platforms were showing their promos, making it look like the next main event of this upcoming WrestleMania. Man, if you want to get some views, lead off with that. That seems to
Right.
be the hottest topic. And, we've been talking about it for a good while, and we're going to jump in the whole picture of spring. We're not just going to talk about the obvious and what everybody else is talking about, but do you want to touch on that at all before we start really getting into the meat of why we're here?
I don't, but I will with a simple statement.
Mm,
Don't count out Tommy Reese and don't count out Jalen Milroe. You have a new offensive coordinator who's working his way into um finding some solidarity,
mm-hmm,
being a member on Coach Saban's staff, and we all know how that is starting off. Coach Saban, we've seen recently with his previous hires, Bill O'Brien, he kind of just gave Bill the reins and see what he was going to do, and we saw what happened the first year um, with Bryce, J-Mo, Mechie. We got experienced guys around the young quarterback, and we had a lot of success. Questionable play calling that first year under O'Brien, but a lot of success because we had experience around Bryce. I honestly
mm-hmm.
believe, without a beat up running back room, we have more success. That first year, and then last year we saw more of the same thing on O'Brien, where once you limited his option, his game plan, quote unquote, whatever that was, there wasn't much else to get from it. You kind of just hope that it would kind of work itself out. So I think it's more so on the coordinators than it is the person we select. I personally think it's going to be Milroe,
Mm-hmm.
just because he brings the extra factor of athleticism. Everybody talk about his inability to throw the ball. The guy has a strong arm. Accuracy is not a problem. Confidence is the problem. Lack of understanding is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So those are very, very important things. But when you talk about getting out there and playing football, I'm taking a Milroe over Ty Simpson any day. That's just simple. I mean, like if I'm picking a team, I'm outside and we're playing pickup football, and we've been out there throwing the ball back and forth. You seeing guys running around acting like they go tackle this person or juking this person, and I see this guy Milroe 6'2", 225, slinging the ball extra hard, out there running faster than me and the other receivers that's out there and the running backs, and he putting moves on people. I'm gonna tough it out and see what this guy can do for the most part of the game and live with it. And hopefully he throw maybe 3 or 4 passes, good passes throughout the game that'll let us win. So that's what I see in Milroe. I think that's what most of the country who's waiting and hoping that this guy gets overlooked and hits the portal, are saying when they look at Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think a lot of people right now who are making their assessment or their choices, one, don't understand football, or two, they're making their assessment based out of an emotion. And that doesn't really, they don't really want to take the time to kind of dissect and look beyond the surface. The reality is, Jalen Milroe has only 6 quarters of legitimate playing time, meaningful moments, whereas Ty Simpson has what maybe combined a quarter's worth of play, live play
Not
on the
even.
level. And please understand, folks, I'm not putting Ty Simpson down. I'm not trying to get anyone to choose sides or make this into a campaign to cause division within the Bama nation, which other people are doing that already. So I'm not going to be one of those people. I think that Ty Simpson, whether his time is now or his time is down the road, is going to be a phenomenal quarterback. But you started out the right way, coach. A lot of people lead in ultimately to Jalen Milroe versus Ty Simpson. You started it out. I don't know if you realize you said this, by give Tommy Reese a chance. Don't write
Oh
off Tommy
yeah,
Reese, because ultimately the winner of this battle is going to be dependent upon what Tommy Reese is able to do with both candidates.
yes,
Meaning you've got to give Tommy Reese time to work with both of those guys, to feel them out, to look at their skill set and see what he can do and how he can form an offense around those guys according to what they are able to do, what they're called to do, instead of Bill O'Brien trotting out Jalen Milroe last year, trying to get him to run Bryce Young's offense, which was designed around his skill set.
right,
Whoever it's going to be, Tommy Reese is going to simplify the playbook and call the plays and schemes according to what they can do at that moment. And as they build confidence in each other, then they're going to add more concepts, more
right.
schemes. And but the thing is, and this is what I'm afraid of, I think people are going to be so willing to jump the gun and push that eject button on Jalen Milroe a day.
Right.
I think if we make it past a day and we get to game one, they're going to be ready to fire him in the sun. Then game
Right.
two, if they still are kind of holding on and giving him some kind of hope, game two, that's going to be against a formidable opponent in Texas.
Yep.
Uh, how he performs then, a lot of people are going to be ready to write him off. I think that whoever the starter is going to be, you're not going to really see what they're
What the
capable of or what they're not capable of until probably about what,
week 6?
3 to 4 games in. Yeah, at the latest, week 5, week 6. So I think we really just need to be smart and logical about this and just let the coaches coach,
Mm-hmm.
and then let's get an accurate assessment.
Yeah, and I think people get I think people get mixed up when I give my opinion on the Miro Simpson situation. I give an opinion based off of a skill set situation. A skill set basis. Milroe is just a better athlete, man. And sometimes you don't need the better athlete. Sometimes you just need a quarterback. If you look at what we have returning on offense, we talk about the offensive line and
Mm-hmm.
the receiving core. The only solidified position group that we have coming back with some type of production, we talking about serious production, is Jace McClellan. That's the only person. The only person. Cam Latu is gone. Um, you didn't have great production from your top 2 wide receivers, Corey Brooks, and Jermaine Burton. They're coming back, but
Mm-hmm.
they weren't game changers. So
Mm-mm.
you really you don't have the Bryce Young at quarterback. You don't have that type of thinking, that gameplay mindset in that quarterback room anymore. So you got to think, am I going with who do I really want to go with? Do I want to go with a guy that's not going to tuck the ball? I mean, do I want to go with the guy that's going to tuck the ball and drop his head every time he gets, the pocket collapses around him? Or do I want the guy that's going to tuck the ball and try to take off every time, and at least make something positive? I'm thinking about those small situations. I'm thinking about the guy that's been through some adversity in the big lights. You know, Jalen Miro didn't have a great start against
Mm-mm.
Texas A&M. Even though that we won that game, that was not a good game to be bragging about for Jalen Miro. That's not one of those games where Jalen Miro will be like, "Well, I'm 1-0 with my first start." This no, I don't believe Jalen Miro probably was dissecting that film harder and being grilling himself harder than anybody else. You know, thinking about the things he could do. So like you said though, Justin, and like I said from the jump, man, it's all going to be on Tommy Rees. And I think what's really going to be a factor in it is what style of play calling is going to produce the best for Alabama. That's also going to decide who the starter is, because I feel like if we can run a balanced offense with Jalen Milroe, meaning we can get 30 run attempts, 25 pass attempts, 35 run attempts, 25 30 pass attempts. That type of offense and that type of pace and staying on schedule like that to run that many plays offensively as a team, I think we Jalen Milroe will thrive. But if we have to be a heavy pass offense that can stand and pass block a lot with this O line, we have wide receivers that understand concept and can find open space. You got a guy like Ty Simpson that with 4 seconds every snap, he can be a lethal quarterback. If you can't pressure him, he's a lethal quarterback. Not all you can't say that about every quarterback you watch. You can not pressure some quarterbacks and they struggle. Ty Simpson won't struggle if you don't pressure him. My thing is when he gets pressure, and I've seen it from his high school film. I've seen it, man. He's just as loose with the ball as Jalen Milroe, but he's not as fast. So do you want to
Mm.
risk that? You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
and I mean he's deceptive. He has deceptive athleticism, but he's not Jalen Milroe. If Jalen Milroe wasn't in that room, Ty Simpson might be your most athletic quarterback. But he's Jalen Milroe's in that room, man. He's like head and shoulders above the rest of everybody in that room when it comes to athleticism. Not a quarterback, not being a quarterback. They're all on the same level to me as far as being a quarterback. But you add that extra factor. Jalen Milroe puts himself ahead with athleticism, and then also experience in the program, not just in the system, but in the program, because the system is technically changing with a new coordinator, but the program is still the same. So yeah. But yeah, that's my take on it. I feel like both guys have a fair shot with Tommy Rees coming
Yeah,
in. I think
absolutely.
my personal, I'm not rooting against anybody, but if I was the OC, my first quarterback to take snaps for me would be Jalen Milroe. Now, if that boy Eli Holston had been a freshman last year, and this was his sophomore year, he'll be in the top two. That's I'm gonna leave that at that too.
Yeah, some folks have already put his name in the hat to
He's not
push
ready. Not
for the
this year.
job.
Not
I
this
think
year.
he's going to be phenomenal. It's just not time yet. And I want
Not
to,
this year.
but before I wrap this little segment up, because I don't want to put all of our eggs in this basket. I think there's going to be enough talk about this over the course of the next several weeks until the 8A game. I want to remind everybody of how Blake Sims played at the 8A game before his senior year. It was abysmal. I mean, people were just ready to fire him out of that stadium, wanted nothing to do with it, and wanted no parts in Blake Sims. You had people asking Nick Saban, "Is that the best we have?" And Blake Sims took that to heart. He
Mm-hmm.
worked his tail off during the summer. He didn't even go on spring break. He didn't go on
He
summer
didn't.
break. He was in the film room. He was in the weight room. He was on the practice fields, fine tuning his craft, going to the Manning Passing Academy, just doing everything he needed to do to elevate himself to take that starting role. And just like then, I mean, you have the Ty Simpson already being projected as a starter. Well, when he was entering his senior year, Jake Coker was already inaugurated as the heir apparent, the absolute, without a doubt, hands down Heisman finalist.
Mm-hmm.
Blake got there and told Jake to sit down. It's not your
Yep.
time yet, son. And he went from throwing erratic passes, much like people say Milroe did, to being on point, making tremendous throws. What was he all American material? Was he number one draft pick material? No, but he
Is
was
what the offense
very
needed, though.
good. And he had a coordinator that was intelligent and Lane Kiffin, and who designed the offense around what he could do. And from what I recall, if Blake Sims was so horrible, then when I look at the record books, why is his name there?
Right.
So, folks, don't
And
write him off yet. Give both guys an opportunity, is what I'm saying. I think both guys' ceiling is tremendously high, and whether it's Milrose's time or it's Ty's time, we're going to cheer for both, and they're going to do great things.
So, and then I just want to reply to a few of the comments because I see a few that's kind of in the same wavelength. That's kind of like I don't think you guys really understand the aspect from a football standpoint. Any coach with a talking about a progressive mindset, you're talking about the new wave of offensive football, college football, the new wave of play calling. Any coach in collegiate football that wants to have a powerful offense, no matter what their offensive line looks like, receiver group, running back, if they came to get a quarterback out of the Alabama quarterback room right now, if they had a choice out of the quarterbacks that's in the Alabama quarterback room right now, they're going for Milroe. He just gives you so many options. And I seen the comment by my boy Justin Summerlin, appreciate the comment. Fast isn't all you need. You have to be able to read the defense and understand the game. If you watch the game against Arkansas and A&M when Jalen Milroe had to do anything more than if he was in shotgun and he did not do a 3-step drop, he struggled because the coordinator was not reminding him, hey, create your space. Everybody knows as a quarterback, the more space you create, the more your eyes are downfield. If you sit there, take the snap, and you stand there, your eyes never can come above the O-line level. You never give yourself a chance. You're kind of guessing what's over that level. But you take those 3 steps back, you naturally have a bounce. So you're giving yourself a good look over the field, a good landscape of the field, and seeing what you're working with, understanding the concept in your head. So I don't think it's necessary understanding reading the defense. It's about being comfortable with the concepts. The wide receivers nor the quarterback, when Jalen Milroe was in the game, were comfortable with the concepts that were being thrown at them to run. The game against A&M, Jalen Milroe makes a what looks to be a bad pass to Ja'Cory Brooks, and the DB from Texas A&M should have had a clean pick. But if you go back and you rewind the play, like in my reaction video that I'm uploading, you rewind the play, the Ja'Cory Brooks, if Ja'Cory Brooks keeps running the slant instead of sitting like Jermaine Burton did with his guy, because you had a 2-man concept on the right side, Burton sits, Brooks should have kept going. Brooks keeps going. He catches a slant / post type pattern in stride, and it can be a big play. But a lack of understanding from what the play was called, the objective, the design of the play, you could tell that nobody was comfortable. So you take those factors and you could look at that one play and see how that is consistent with Milroe drop, in the pass game under O'Brien. I think that has a lot to do with his lack of confidence. But you get a guy like Milroe confidence that he can really take his time and make these reads, not necessarily take his time, but be confident in the reads that he's making. You have something dangerous. But like we've been saying, man, Ty Simpson, if we have a OP offensive line that's just like monstrous in the pass pro, this might be Ty Simpson's year, because Ty Simpson with no pressure is going to be lethal, man. It's going to be lethal. But we're in the SEC. How many years have we gone in the SEC where there's been like not at least 8 to 12 legit pass rushers across just the West? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got 7 teams on each side. And like, come on, man. You're not going to find that. So if Ty Simpson was in the ACC or in the Pac-12, yeah, he could be a day one starter right now. But in the SEC, it's a different ball game, man. You got to have some legs. Every quarterback that started at Alabama has had a keen. We've either had an extra strong run game that we relied on, or they've had a keen ability to be slippery and get away when stuff breaks down. And I don't see that in Simpson right now. Right now, I don't see that Simpson, but I do see the ability to make the passes from the pocket. I do see the arm strength, and I do see the IQ. I don't know, with all the questions of O-line, wide receiver, running back room is probably the only thing reliable right now. I'm going with Milroe, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay. One other factor to consider is which of those two will win over the locker room. That's
right.
One of the biggest factors to consider in this. It's not all about X's and O's. It's not about 40 times. It's not about passing percentage. You
Right.
got to look at that as a leader. Who is going to command that locker room,
Right.
and then transfer it over to the field? It's something that we're definitely going to be looking over the next several weeks.
Right.
But we here believe in diversity. We believe in adding more content than what every other channel is doing right now. And someone actually got ahead of me or ahead of us in the chat.
Yeah.
They
What
want to
the,
know about the secondary. Well, folks, guess what? That's what
that's
we're about to talk about.
yes, sir.
Because, yes, the quarterback position is very important right now. We get that.
Hmm.
So is the secondary. We got some people to talk about. We don't have positions locked down. Well, I'll say, I just kind of
We'll
lead off.
project. We'll project.
We'll project. I think if anyone right now has a position locked, without a doubt, it's Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Hmm.
Fantastic year last year, and definitely one of the lockdown corners in the country, and will be a top 10 draft pick in the 2024 draft. But what about the other positions? You know, well, it's time to talk about it, Coach. I want to lead off with Terrion Arnold.
Okay.
Last year, I feel like if you were to grade him, if you grade him against the upperclassmen, I think he played just okay. But if you were to be realistic and logical and graded him against freshmen, what to expect as a freshman, I think he played exceptionally well. I think he played exceptionally well, given the fact that he never played corner before. He was transitioning from a safety, which a lot of us thought he would be doing when he got to Alabama. But the coaches saw something in him. They saw a certain skill set that just spoke to him and said, "Hey, we might have something here." And they were able to put him on the field. Yeah, he had growing pains. I'm not going to sit here and say that he played perfect games. There's times where he definitely looked like he was very green, but yeah, so did Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Right.
And look how that panned out. Terrion was the undisputed second corner this past year until Eli Ricks figured out what the playbook was.
Mm.
But I really like what I saw from a guy transitioning from safety to corner, playing a position he never played. I'm looking at, despite that adversity, still being able to play at a high level. Now, he still struggled with some of the nuances the cornerback typically faces, playing the ball in the air, staying in phase, playing vertically with wide receivers. But he wasn't as polished as you'd hope. But he got better every game. I think that year two, this is going to be when we really see what Arnold's capable of. And I think that he's going to be the undisputed number two right now. Um, Before I go to other players, I want to get your thoughts on Terrion, your confidence level in him.
I think I'm more confident in him than most. I saw some very good flashes from raw corner last year. You mean I don't think people realize how hard it is. That's why you see most corners go to safety and thrive, because usually they just don't have the early down, the early or I guess you can call it early clock aspects to be able to buy those 2 to 3 seconds of coverage. um, so when they get moved from corner to safety, they get a little bit more cushion and space to
Mm-hmm.
not have to do as much, so they have more time to react. And those guys like that, you got to think, you had a guy like Cyrus Jones. I remember when Cyrus Jones got moved from corner to safety and had to go back to corner. The games Cyrus Jones played at corner, he was flying around that jug. I remember when Eddie Jackson, they tried to put Eddie Jackson at corner. We saw what happened when he went to safety. Still killing that safety in the league. Um, Xavier McKinney came in as a
Mm.
corner. People forget he came in as a corner, and he played a little bit of strong safety, and then he got moved to star, which is a glorified corner slash linebacker, whatever you want to, strong safety, however you want to look at him when you talk about the scheme that Alabama runs defensively. But Arnold is going to have that year that we expect. I think a lot of people forget that he was actually a freshman on the field last year. He didn't get any playing time 2021. He didn't see the field 2021. You know, so 2022 was his first real life experience, and he didn't get thrown into a favorable situation. You gotta think he had a lot of pressure because our front was not being as dominant early on in the year this past season as they were expected to be. And then also you got, you know, all the easy stuff happening in the middle. You're not getting tested for, you know, 3/4 of the quarter, and then the two plays that the offense wants to test you, you're beat up and banged up because you're too busy worrying about run support because your middle linebacker's not feeling. So you're trying to get all heads on the ball. So you got a lot with a young guy that's being a throwing at him, trying to contain the edges when you know, a team like Texas was stretching the edges, the perimeter of the field, you know, trying to seal the edges. It was just so much to take on in that moment. And he did look bad for moments, but there was also moments where against A&M, he saved the
Mm-hmm.
game. He
Yeah, he
won the
did.
game for us in A&M. Even though the refs tried to take that game from us, Arnold won the game for us. He actually made a few plays, and then the one pass interference call that they did call on him, there's no way you call pass interference on a guy if his head is up and his shoulders are turning into the player to make a swat. That's not pass interference. His hands were down. I mean, like I watched the guy. So Arnold is gonna have a better year. Um, I think his development is solely gonna be on what's over top. That's really what made Arnold look bad. Having Helms over top of him did not help him on a lot of
Yeah,
those plays. Having
right.
Helms as his last line of
Safety.
defense or his
Yeah,
his,
safety
his
valve.
safety net did not help him. It having Helms on any corner didn't help. Having Helms as anybody's safety net didn't help. Yeah, he made some plays sometimes, but having Helms above you it makes you look bad. We saw Kool-Aid thrive with Battle when he's on over top, you know, of Kool-Aid because of how comfortable Battle was in the scheme and how he started to play football. So I think that's going to be important. But Arnold is probably one of our biggest corners. He's about 200 pounds now. Based off, I think. Let me go look at the roster. He's 196, so
Still
that's
200. Give it to him. Yeah.
200 pounds, 6 foot. He has 6'5" wingspan. That's one thing we loved about Arnold. His I mean 6'4" wingspan. His length at the corner position. And you got another guy, Kool-Aid. I don't think people realize how long Kool-Aid is on the other side. So you can get two guys like that. You had that with Ricks last year. He wasn't as thick as Arnold, but he same type of length. Height is there. Both guys running like sub 4.4s. You know, that's good speed for a corner. That's good speed for a corner. You got the abnormal height with the 6 foot plus 6 foot. Anytime you get a corner 6 foot, 6'1", 6'3", you sitting with a good tool bag and some options. And usually you're able to go more press man when you have disciplined safeties and two big corners like that. So I think this is Arnold's year to thrive, and we'll just see, man. We'll just see.
And I also like the fact that he doesn't panic in big situations.
He
And
gets cooked, but he doesn't panic. I will say that, and I think it bothered me that he didn't panic sometimes. Like you want to see a guy that know he got cooked, go ahead and like try to overwork through the play, but Arnold will get cooked and be like, dang. And but then what I would see from Arnold is go out the next play, the next drive, and when sets come out, you could tell he's making a call out to the safety. And a lot of times, like I said, guys, Arnold got cooked a lot of times, but a lot of those plays, especially I think that was the Tennessee game.
a lot of those weren't him, but he was
They weren't.
involved.
He would start off on Hyatt, but any switch release, if Arnold is telling the safety switch, if the corner calls the switch, he's the first. He's at the mesh. So whichever read he makes, the safety has the space to make the read off of that. Helms got lost so many times in that small switch concept, and it wasn't nothing so crazy. That's why at one clip you could see Arnold really frustrated on the sideline. And as the young guy on the field, you don't see him being vocal like that until that point where he's like, man, this is not my fault. If I call the switch, safety's over top. The safety has to be over the top and react.
And I like that. That shows maturity. And
Yeah,
he's not going to sit back and cringe in fear because he's a freshman. He's going to speak his piece. And winning the locker room over happens at that moment right there. You're telling the upper guys, look, do your damn job. I can't do
right.
my job if you're not going to do yours. And I think a lot of him getting cooked wasn't because of lack of skill or inability. I think it's just because of one, playing position he wasn't accustomed to, then two, being a freshman, being an 18-year-old on a big stage, just making rookie mistakes.
Right.
I do like the fact that he's big. Physicality is one of his strongest assets. He's not going to second guess making the tackle. He's going to go right at it. And
He's very physical.
I didn't see him miss many tackles. I didn't see him overanalyze anything. He didn't try to overcompensate for anything.
Right.
This is a guy that you want on the field. Like I said, year 2 is really going to be a blossoming stage for this guy.
Right. And like we were talking about earlier, Justin, just to transition, we talk about the guys that's going to surround a guy like Arnold. You put Arnold at corner, and like I said at the beginning too, bro. If he doesn't if he doesn't start at corner, it's because we're going to need somebody at safety, and I feel like he will thrive more at safety. But if we have solidified somebody at safety, I would love to see Christian Story finally get a shot.
Yeah,
I would love to see Christian Story get a chance as a starter at free safety, because I feel like with him, one solid year where he could get maybe 4 to 5 picks, be able to show his range because he has the speed, his ability to fill the gap, secondary run support. I believe Christian Story could solidify him as a second-day pick in the draft after this year. Christian Story is coming into his
third
senior
year.
year.
Yeah, senior year. Yeah.
Senior year in the classroom, but third year on the field, technically. So we're talking about a guy that needs, like, he's in what I would say, what we were talking about Kendrick Blackshire. Like, he's in that type of situation. You came in with a lot of hype, a lot of upside, a lot of expectation. We were expecting you to finally have your chance. You know, I didn't see Helms and Wright getting his way, but that did. And that threw me off for Christian Story. So, and then you also got Devontae Smith, who's in that room too. Is he at safety still, or is he at corner? He came in as a corner, but he played safety last year. So we're sitting where we have a lot of options in this secondary room, and I would love to see Arnold at safety. Me personally, I would love to see Kool-Aid, Earl Little, Malachi Moore as your star. I would love to see. I took that from you earlier. I'm not gonna lie. Earl Little. I did, because
Folks,
I
we talked
said it
about this
last
before
year.
we got on, and
I said it last year, and I looked like a fool because I didn't know he was hurt. I didn't know he was injured. So when I was like, man, you remember it was one shot. I was like, if Arnold is scared to do it and Ricks is hurt, we got young guys. And Earl Little was the first guy name I said, and so I want to see Earl. That would be awesome to see Earl Little, and then so I would have Kool-Aid Earl at the other corner. I would have Arnold at free. Caleb Downs is my lock for strong safety. That's my lock. The true freshman Caleb Downs. That's my lock. And then the fact that he's listed on the roster in a single-digit number, is a true freshman. We all know what that means. Everybody who's if we talk to any previous Saban player that comes on these shows that got to play under Coach Saban, when you're a freshman and you get to come in and you get to pick your number, when you're especially a single-digit number like that, come on, man. We see him a lot. We saw it. When Mechie came on. Come on, man. Mechie didn't come in with no high number. Mechie played from the time he got on the campus all the way till he graduated. He played as a freshman. He was the 5th man out of the 4 horsemen. He was the 5th man. You know, all that talent in front of him, and he still was finding the field. People forget that. So I like Caleb Downs at the strong safety.
Yeah.
But if Arnold is the other corner starting, my free safety is Christian Story. So Arnold at corner, I got Arnold, Kool-Aid, Malachi the star, Caleb at the strong, and Story at the safety. If at the free, if Arnold is at free, we got Kool-Aid, Earl, Malachi, Caleb, and Arnold at the free.
Okay. Sir, you're not supposed to take my ideas and turn them against
Too
me.
bad. Payback.
I'm not saying nothing in the pregame meeting.
Pregame, don't say that no more. Don't show your face cards.
Man, he's all about getting that publicity, folks. See what I'm working with.
I gotta take it, man.
I got this guy off the bench during the season and put him on a show, and this is what I
Mm-hmm.
get.
Yeah,
You
man.
get a
Hey, it's
little
my time
cocky.
to shine, Justin. It's my time to shine.
Shoot.
But for real, I was big on Earl Little Jr., man. Even in recruiting,
Oh
man, I was
yeah.
one. I'm telling you, man, the guy's special. And another quiet one, he just made the headlines for something negative. But I feel like he might be another Tony Brown for us. But I
You
feel like
gotta
he
have
might,
somebody with some screws loose though.
yeah. And I'm telling you,
Yeah.
Tony Mitchell. I feel like that guy can. He might surprise us. Tony Mitchell might surprise us, y'all. He's a lot more physical than I thought. And what's crazy is I actually got to see the kid. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to see him in his sophomore year, I believe. So he's a lot more physical than I thought. And when we've had those DBs that, even with when targeting was a rule, 2016 targeting was a big focus. We still had DBs knocking heads in 2016. That's why we
Yeah.
were getting so many picks. Cats going up, short arming, trying to catch passes that's in the air. That helps you. That helps you. That creates ricochets. That makes wide receivers not run routes full speed, knowing that it's a DB in every part of the field, all across 50 yard left or right, sideline to sideline. Is somebody waiting to knock their head off in that secondary, where in a safe space downfield where they're supposed to be safe at, but somebody ready to knock their head off. And we have an opportunity to have that with some of the guys in this defensive back room.
I like that. Physical, tough
Yes.
defensive backs, not timid,
Yes.
not guys who gonna let the game dictate them. They dictate the game.
Right, right.
We need it. We need it. Malachi Moore, I'll start off with him. First of all, I'm gonna say that if he's healthy the entire year, Jim Thorpe Award winner. We saw what he did this first year, full healthy season. He came in ready. Very few people are able to have that kind of production year one, other than Minka Fitzpatrick. That's a great comparison.
Yeah.
Malachi, I think that we'll see at Star, undoubtedly. I think that he has tremendous experience there, but where Coach Smook and I disagreed during the pregame when he was stealing my ideas, that I feel like he might be better suited at safety. I think he'll get a look at both safety and star during the spring. I think the ultimate determination of him playing that position or star, like you said, Caleb Downs, is he ready? Is he going to come in day one? It looks as though he is, and take that spot. Honestly, watching film, hearing him talk, I feel like he's on loan to us from the NFL. He's just biding his
It,
time
it's
until
scary,
draft
Justin.
day.
It's scary, Justin. I don't know how you feel about. Nope, nothing. Listen, go look up some stuff on YouTube about Caleb Downs and his film from the high school playoffs that his team just completed this past high school football season. And if you go and look at some of the plays that this kid is making, mind you, he plays in a tough region in football in Georgia. Okay, that region of football it's a lot of athletes, a lot of 5 stars are coming out of that class in the state of Georgia. A lot of 5 stars. So he's not playing against UT Martin private
No,
schools.
no,
Guys, he's playing against SEC level talent guys in his wide receivers who are top 100 wide receivers. Every other week, Caleb Downs is facing these guys, and he's manning. Not only is he playing safety, he's playing running back. He's playing wide receiver. Like this guy's an athlete, but he's thriving. He's not getting attention for the 15 or I think he had 12 touchdown catches this year
yeah, it's
and like
12.
eight rushing or something. So, I mean, he's
Yeah,
not even getting the attention for that. He's getting attention for his ability, his recovery speed on the ball, his ability to play the ball in the air, his physicality and run game support. You a strong safety and Coach Saban's offense, your ability to recover and your ability to fit the run gap, you're on the field. If you could do that at a consistent basis with his level of speed, Caleb Downs is a sub 4.4 guy, a young sub 4.4 guy as a freshman coming in. He has the ability, the ceiling to get faster. He's going to get stronger. He's going to put on more weight. He's already 195 pounds as a freshman. I mean, the guy, he's built like a SEC defensive back. When I see Caleb Downs, I think about Roman Harper. That's the type of feel and energy he gives me. Roman Harper had
Uh,
that instinct, man, that
he
crazy
did.
instinct, bro. And Caleb Downs, I just see that in him, man.
I also feel like if you're going to compare him to past stars from a physical standpoint, he has potential to be a Mark Barron.
Man, and the fact that the way he crashes downhill. If you listen to Caleb Downs talk about physical safeties, this is a kid that watches Brian Dawkins highlights.
Ooh,
Come on now,
man,
any kid
kid knows
in
his
this day
stuff.
and age that watches Brian Dawkins highlights and don't let him mess around and get some Taylor, some Sean Taylor.
Oh,
Come on now, like don't let's and the fact that we have a secondary coach in T-Rob that can really get this guy and put his hands on him, and you know that's going to be big to see how Caleb Downs, and even I think Caleb Downs, I think Tony Mitchell, and is it Jaleel Hurley
mm,
Jaleel Hurley is the other freshman DB that's coming in, right?
yeah,
I think Hurley
he
is
is.
going to be a third year starter type guy because he's going to got so much talent coming in front of him. But he's got some talent too. But Mitchell and Caleb Downs are going to benefit. They're going to be probably your lead guys in his DB room with Earl Little coming up these next few years. And I think Downs is going to really set the tone, man. I'm telling y'all, that guy's got, man. Go watch the film, guys. Go watch
And
the highlights. Go just watch. Don't even watch highlights. Go watch a game. They have full games of this kid. He's different.
he is. And I'm gonna give my summary, my closing arguments before we move on to the next segment because we're kind of running out of time. One, I think the best thing that happened in all season is going to benefit Caleb Downs the most is that Charles Kelly is gone.
Yes,
He won't have a coach that does not know what he's doing. He's going to have T-Rob, but also I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as this NCAA stuff is cleared up, Jerry
JP.
Pruitt is going to take over as safeties coach. And we know what he can do at that position. We're about to have some killers, guys. Now, I saw Jesse Lewis asking about Devontae Smith. I think he may have come in when Coach Smook, or after Coach Smook was talking about him. Two biggest question marks. Does Coach Saban trust in Christian Story to be a full-time starter? As Coach already mentioned, he's been there 3 years. This is his fourth year. He is in the Kendrick Blackshire position where your time is now. And if he's not going to show up, enormous potential. A guy I really like is Devontae Smith. And Coach, you've already said this, and I'll echo it again. The coaches really like Devontae Smith. I saw something from him last year. They started feeling more comfortable with him as the season progressed, and he really showed some things, especially against Ole Miss. A lot of those plays that Ole Miss was trying to convert were thwarted because of him.
Right.
I like this kid. He's smart. He's intelligent. Definitely was worthy of all the accolades coming into Alabama. Now, we've already touched on him a little bit, Earl Little Jr. He's not a threat to start at just one position. He's a threat to start at multiple positions. Corner, safety, star. This guy can do it all. He's a
Right.
Swiss Army knife. And he doesn't just do one well, he does it all well.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy you got to have on the field. And he's not going to wait for anyone else to have their aha moment.
Mm-mm.
He's going to say, I'm going to get mine. And he's going to be on the field sooner rather than later. But right now, I feel like there's going to be a lot of moving parts, a lot of
Right.
people interchanged, and we're going to see a lot of different packages. But the guys who are going to be on that field are going to play exceptionally well. Anyone who is wondering about Desmond Ricks, I'm just going to go ahead and say he doesn't need to be on the field just yet. Yes, tremendous ceiling. I think we all know that. But unless it's an absolute necessity, he needs to spend time growing. He needs to spend time behind some of these veterans, learning his craft, fine tuning his craft. Now, you may argue, well, look at Kool-Aid McKinstry. Yes, Kool-Aid McKinstry came in as an absolute necessity. Jalen Armour-Davis went down. He had to go in. And this past season, he went through some growing pains. But those growing pains didn't last too long.
In the one game.
Yeah.
Every game we saw improvement from Kool-Aid. Every game. I'm talking about from week 1 to the finish to K-State. Kool-Aid was still improving in K-State. As good of a year as Kool-Aid McKinstry had last year, he was still improving in the K-State game. And that's what I love to see. You talk about a second-year starter. That's what you see. That's why most times that third year, you don't like Will Anderson. You didn't see a lot from Will Anderson because he did so much growth his second year. It was like, okay, boom, this guy's dominant. Now we're going to see the full package now because now they done got first. You got surprised by this guy the first year.
Mm-hmm.
The second year, you thought you had an idea where he can be, but he only was just getting started. So his second year, he got better, and he showed you that he was getting better. So now you know you can't hold back on him. So now when you come into the game, we're really scheming our offense based off of where this guy lines up at. So that's why we didn't see production from Will. We're probably going to see the same thing from Kool-Aid this year, knowing defenses are going to know that we're still going to have a solid front seven. We're going to have some questions, but the type of talent that we have, they're going to know we have the talent there. You still got Braswell and Turner on the edges as your edge rushers who could go anywhere in the country and start as an edge rusher. They can go to Georgia right now and they'll be the starters at edge right now. As good as the Georgia edge rushers are, they can go to Georgia. Dallas and Braswell can go to Georgia right now and start. And so you got some guys in the middle that you're kind of questionable about, but you got bodies that you're going to be able to try out. You're not going to want to try Kool-Aid. You're not going to want to try him much. You want to probably go away from him a lot. That's why I said that other side is probably the most important. And if we had to put somebody that's ready right now, it's probably going to be Arnold. Yeah. And if Arnold is there, if that's the one you have to go with because of lack of experience and everything, yeah, man, that you definitely want to see Smitty at the top, right? But does he beat out Story? I don't think neither one of those guys beats out Caleb Down, Story or Smitty at the strong safety spot because Smitty plays in all those positions. My thing is, and I think what's kept him off the field is his lack of intensity, man. Smitty's a very sound technical guy, very smart, but you have to have some type of physicality, and I didn't see him putting his hat in those plays. You know, it's a couple of plays where he had to make tackles and he was really hugging. He's not physical like the other guys, and if that's his downfall, he's not going to see the field as much speed. And the I think what keeps him in the running is his ability to play the ball, his ball skills as a defensive back, because he's probably number 2 or number 3 in that room when it comes to ball skills behind Kool-Aid. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you just have to see, man. You got to see where guys' minds are. A guy like Smitty, I think that just the lack of physicality is what's keeping him off the field.
But I think that's going to come. That's just first year.
You got to think a guy like Helms keeping Smitty off the field. Helms can't cover for crap. Nope. Smitty could cover. Like, but what can Helms do? Helms gonna put his hat in there. he gonna fill run gaps when there are no run gaps. He gonna make run gaps to fill. He gonna fill a run gap on. Helms will be trying to fill a run gap hold on play action, man. And the quarterback has already went through the play action and did his three-step drop off the fake and everything. And Helms is still trying to fill this run gap off of fake, man. Like, we can't have that crap this year. So,
well, before I let time get away from us, which we are losing it, I want to touch briefly on Pro Day. Pro Day will be this Thursday.
Right.
Why is it important? Well, you're going to see Bryce Young on the field. He's going to be throwing. Slade Bolden is going to be running routes for him. Slade Bolden is currently a free agent in the NFL, so he's going to put himself in the best position to where NFL coaches can see him because they all will be here on Thursday. Of course, Bryce didn't compete in any drills on the field. He did mainly the mental side of everything, in which he excelled at, as expected. But now we get to see the product in front of us. Coach, I really don't feel like that Bryce is really going to do anything more than what we already know about him. I don't think he really has to push it. He has nothing to prove. I think it's more so of just putting something together for those guys to see, just kind of trot him out there, have a little exhibition, if you will. And then he packs it in and he just waits till April and gets selected number 1 overall. there is a guy I feel like that really has to solidify himself as in terms of what round he goes on is Cam Latu. He wasn't able to go in the NFL Combine because I believe it was a hamstring injury. Well, he's good. He's ready to go. And now he's going to have his chance. I feel like that he has grown since transitioning from a linebacker, but I feel like in a lot of ways he's still green. OJ Howard was on our show some months back, and he liked him. He saw something in him that maybe the casual fan might not have seen, but he really has an opportunity to solidify himself here. How big to you is pro day for Cam Latu?
I think Cam Latu is one of those tight ends. He might not go day 2. He might not even go 3rd round, but somebody's going to draft him. And he'll be on the NFL roster for 2 or 3 years before anybody remembers who Cam Latu is. But he's gonna be a consistent roster placement holder because somebody I think OJ Howard was talking about his ability to be developed. Your ability to put him in a position and say, okay, this is what I think is best for you. And I think you can thrive in this position. And for him to buy into it the way he did at Alabama and to make the impact that he did. As y'all remember the first year, Latu only blocked. And then we were wondering where was our tight end pass catcher was going to come from. The second year he was at tight end. He started the season off as the leading touchdown catcher. Then this last year, the focus had to be on him because he was a factor for Bryce in his first year as a starter. So, and so coming in the second year with Bryce, having not being able to rely on the two because everybody knows that he consistent pass catcher. Coming into this year, he was a more consistent run blocker than he was this past year. I will say that, and I think injuries had a lot to do with it this year more than anything. But Latu definitely has a higher ceiling than most. And because of that, he won't be a free agent. He won't be one of those guys that's ever without a home. He's gonna always outwork the next guy. It's never been an effort thing with Latu. And just his ability, he's a likable person. He's not an asshole. Pause. Excuse me. He's not a butthole. He's one of those guys in the locker room that's respected. I mean, he's respectable. You're talking about a guy that has a humble upbringing. I mean, just understands the whole concept of team and buying in, and that when you got a tight end, you talking about tight ends, you got that's a manager, a team owner looks at it, or a coach looks at that, and they look at a guy and they say, okay, I can give him a decent amount of pay to do a lot of work, and he's going to be happy about it. He's going to be happy about it. We don't have to stress and overpay and worry about diva issues and, whining about them. He's not a problem. So he's definitely a great asset to any team he goes to, not necessarily based off his skill set, but just the attitude and what he brings to the team with his work ethic and his skill set also. He's more athletic than he gets credit for.
Agreed. I think this is a tremendous opportunity for him to showcase his ability. And I think that he may improve his draft status. As far as the other guys, I think that those who were at the combine have already made their money, and there's really not much for them to prove outside of what we saw. Brian Branch goes without saying, just absolutely rocked out. Jordan Battle, phenomenal. Jahmyr Gibbs, good Lord. And hey, I would like to see him run the 40 again here with a correct timer.
Right. And that's what I was going to say about Bryce too. I think Bryce should do it just for publicity. Because at this point, this is a business thing for Bryce. You know what I'm saying? Like let's see a 4.4, Bryce. You know what I'm saying? Let's see a 4.4 just because. Because I feel like Bryce can run a 4.45, 4.46. That's good for a quarterback. I don't need a quarterback to run a 4.3. But if I can get Bryce out there and just to show his like, because he's always going to have the questions about his size. But all right, he's small, but this guy can run. He's small, but this guy is slippery. This guy can run, but he can squat. He's small, but he can bench press. This guy, he's small, but his vertical is there. Like, you know what I'm saying? For his size, I think Bryce is more. That's one thing that I've always admired about Coach Saban and the quality of guys he gets in. When you bring a kid onto the campus with Coach Saban, he's known for what he's known for. And then, like, if he gets on the field or he stays in that program over a year and a half, you get that kid on the field, you're like, dang, I didn't know he was this. It's just because of the type of development that he went through in that program under Coach Saban. So this is a good day for a lot of guys. Like you said, I don't think the pro day at Alabama going to be very hype. Bryce is going to be throwing. That's probably going to be the most exciting part about it. But guys will have an opportunity to solidify themselves, and Latu is one of them, man. I don't think the 40 time is going to be a big thing with him because game speed for tight ends is all that matters. Everybody knows that game speed for tight ends is all that matters. And he shows that he's willing to physically commit to the run game and blocking. He might not do a good job at it all the time, but he's committed to doing it. And it's different at the NFL level than college. So I think Latu has a very high ceiling.
Great way to wrap that up. Speaking of pros, got some breaking news, folks. Alabama in the NFL. O.J. Howard, who we just talked about, has signed with the Raiders. And Damian Harris has now moved on to Buffalo. Great spot for him. So that's breaking news, folks. Alabama in the NFL. A lot of movement right now in free agency. Glad to see them in good homes. Well,
man, Isaiah Bonds looked like he put on about 15 pounds, bro. He looks jacked, bro. I'm sorry to cut you. I'm going through the pictures that I'm seeing from practice today, and bro, a lot of these guys. This look like spring camp pictures from like 2011, bro. When we were talking about wide receivers looking like linebackers. Like you remember everybody was talking about how like Marquise Mays and those guys, they Coop and all them when they were, bro. Them dudes was jacked. These boys look jacked. Jones Bell look jacked. Who's number 16? Ja'Cory Brooks don't even look like the same kid, bro. This dude legs look huge, bro. Kool-Aid.
It's amazing when we get new coaches in.
Right. And then look how many coaches I see in these pictures, bro. Like in the drills. Man, this is different, bro. Like I may be just overexcited because of coaching changes, but this is what I remember seeing. I remember seeing hectic, like NFL style practices from spring game pictures back in 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Like those years when I used to see those first day of spring practice, bro, last year it wasn't like this, bro. It was kind of like a dog and pony show. Everything just seemed so cute. You know what I'm saying? These boys look like they are in the weight room. Coach Saban out there.
Man, there is a different breed of coaches in town.
Chat, if y'all looking at my face and y'all trying to figure out why I'm telling y'all, when I had this type of energy, bro, it's different, man. Like the Iron Bowl week, I was talking about little stuff. He was like, that doesn't matter. I'm telling you, man, it's something about being a real fan and knowing your stuff, bro. These boys, you see guys, wide receivers coming in looking these type of body changes. There's something being instilled in that with the coordinator. That's coordinator changes. That's like somebody saying, hey, you gonna need to stay in that weight room because we're gonna have to run block. We're gonna have to run block. That's when our offense has been at its best, when we've been able to run block on the perimeter with our receivers. We didn't see that from JB last year. We didn't see that from Ja'Cory Brooks. Oh, I forgot they both JBs, JB and JB. I need to get rid of them, man. I'm ready to see these young guys. We'll talk about it another time.
Folks, we greatly appreciate y'all being with us tonight. We'll be back on our regular night.
Yes.
Next Sunday, we'll get things back in order. But before we head on out, I'm going to do what we always do, and that's let Coach Smook talk about what he's coming next. And folks, right now, pay attention to what he says. As soon as you jump off here, I want you to go find all his social media platforms. I want you to subscribe, follow, like, turn on notifications, whatever it takes, and leave a little comment saying that the Bama Standard sent you. Coach, what you got coming up? How can folks find you? Let your moment be now.
Appreciate that, Justin. And once again, roll tide to everybody in the chat. You all keep tuning in, showing up, showing love. I appreciate it, man. We're going to keep doing these bangers for y'all. But just y'all see the name right there. It's right above my head at Coach Smook on any platform, just about. You can go find me. Except OnlyFans. It's not at Coach Smook on OnlyFans. I'll give that to y'all. I'm just playing. I'm gonna get that to y'all on a different time, but nah, let me stop y'all. As y'all can see, I'm a clown, man. I just do content. I'm not a sports writer or anything like that. I just do content, guys. Do gaming content, do comedy. I do just anything fitness. I'm just a guy. I'm sharing my opinions, and people like to hear them. So, or they don't like to hear them. They like to be controversial and argue with me. I like it. I'm here for it. So just check me out on all socials at Coach Smoot. And again, continue to support the Bama Standard. We are here, man. Guys, we have a lot on this channel. My work schedule is allowing me to open up and get dedicate more time to my content creation. So definitely be on the lookout for a lot more things. And guys, continue to support the Bama Standard. Justin doing great things with this network, and the guys that's connected, Bo Scarborough, Blake Sims, Marvin Constance, Steve, all the guys that come through, man, and we do our thing, man. I appreciate you, Matt Cadell, McCoy, like all the names, man, all the greats that come through. They make this show what it is, and Justin doing this thing. You guys keep supporting, liking, and sharing, and y'all gonna keep getting the good content.
Man, I appreciate that. That a way to leave it with me. I like that. Folks, program alert. Speaking of the Bama Standard, we were formerly with TDA. Well, no more. We are now exclusively on this channel. That's right. Your favorite show on YouTube for Bama content, the Bama Standard, will be here every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Nothing changes about our format. Nothing changes about how we roll. We might get a little crazy. We might even become a little bit more politically incorrect. Mm-hmm. That's what we do. So please jump on tomorrow night right here for the Bama Standard. And then at 8 p.m. tomorrow night, Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, the final whistle with Matt Cadell, Chris James, Dan James. They let me talk a little bit too. Also, Kennedy Winston is the guest, and we're going to have a show completely dedicated to Tide hoops, guys. We're rolling. We're in the Sweet 16.
Going crazy right now.
We've got an opportunity to do something that we've never done in Bama basketball. You definitely want to tune in for that. Kennedy Winston, one of the best to ever do it on the court. Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, the developmental focus points with Bo Scarborough, Blake Sims, Christian Jones, and Trent Richardson. And then, of course, every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, the Bama Standard postgame show with your two favorite guys right here, as well as some other things I'd like to bring up before I head out. I know there's a lot going on because, hey, we're the best for Bama content and Bama legends. I want to draw your attention to a recently released video interview with Ryan Anderson. Short video, about a 7 to 8 minute video. Gave us some great knowledge in that short amount of time. Also, Darren Mustin, our interview with Darren Mustin. He was one of the first linebackers of the Nick Saban era. Gives us some great insights on what that first team was like in 2007. Great insights on Kevin Steele and a hilarious story about Nick Saban showing his ass. But also, the most recent addition to this channel was the Ahmad Galloway tribute show. We had several people come together, sharing their stories, their thoughts, and just good content about the former Tide player who died way too soon. All proceeds from that show that are donated will be given directly to his children's college fund. And if you want to know how to donate, you can go on there. There's a little button called thanks. All you got to do is tap that, enter the amount there, and we will receive it. Any amount's appreciated. We greatly appreciate what anybody can do. Share that episode. We definitely got to keep his memory alive. But yeah, great show tonight, Coach. Killed it as always. Couldn't have done without you. Couldn't have done without the people in the chat. If you're watching the replay, give us your thoughts. We talked about a lot of things tonight that definitely need to cause you to sound off. So we're not a shy fan base. Let us know what you think. Right. That will do it for us. Roll Tide, guys.
Roll Tide, baby.